Hello, everybody. What's up, people? My name is Steven Gerrard, and you're listening to Elegbete TV Radio. Stay tuned.
Get entertained. There's nothing like listening to Elegbete TV Radio. It's fun. This is radio like you never heard before. Elegbete TV Radio, the pathfinder for radio. Elegbete TV Radio, we dare to lead. Elegbete TV Radio, redefining broadcasting. Listen.
All right, good morning and welcome to the Sports Buffet on Elegbete TV Radio. My name is Edafe Matthew Seguna. You love to call me the Elegbete One of Sports. It's a lovely time to be in the studio for the show. Right, whatever you are, whatever you're doing, let's talk about the World Cup. It's all World Cup this time. Ronaldo might come in because it's part of the World Cup, but really, it's the World Cup. Let's get your seats. Your beats and piece. First game we saw. I don't know whether that's a World Cup game or that's a friendly match. I think from my own part of viewing the World Cup since 1986 up until now, that's the most boring game that I've seen. And I've seen Saudi Arabia play at the World Cup. I've seen Iran play at the World Cup. I've seen some very, very sick African teams. I saw Cameroon play in 2014. Okay. This was boring, especially the first 45 minutes. So let's just hope. And then this is also the first time in a pretty long while where the host country didn't score the first game of the tournament. Okay. It's also the first time in the history of the World Cup that the opening goal is a penalty. And Valencia have now scored 5 goals in the World Cup. He scored 3 goals. I remember calling every single game where he scored in 2014 as a commentator. Scored 3 goals in the 2014 World Cup. Now he's added 2. Would have been 3, but Oversabi Electronics offside catcher caught somebody's half leg handicap, caught his handicap from his knee down, and so that goal was disallowed. But either ways, it is what it is, as we see over here, and somehow we are going to have to enjoy it the way it is and just move on with it. So wherever you are joining us on, whether you are listening via www.elegbete.tv.com or you're listening via the mobile app, Elegbete TV Radio app on your Android phone, or you're watching us via Instagram or YouTube, we are ready for the show. And then when I say we, I mean we. Myself and Benedict Eki, who's also joined the list of commentators. Now, he can say he is a football commentator because officially we had him over the weekend at the Mobile Aji Johnson Arena doing commentaries alongside Emmanuel Sebastian. We're going to talk about that tomorrow anyway. But I'm going to bring a bit of piece of that also on this show. Benedict Eki, good morning and welcome.
Good morning, Mr. Edafe. How are you doing? How's your weekend?
I'm good. My weekend is fine, but I sprained my wrist, so I'm in pain, like severe pains, serious pains.
Well, I gotta say, Qatar versus Ecuador game was like Crystal Palace Team B versus Cowsley Team A in National League. That kind of game wasn't really totally intriguing. Not a World Cup now you really expected. Although the opening ceremony was
it was good. Like the throwback, and then the voice of God showed up. Morgan Freeman. It was nice. I like the fact that Nigerian artists performed. It was good. It carried everybody along. Nigeria didn't qualify for the World Cup, but we are ably represented. Sunday Lisa is going to be there to the finals of the World Cup. Amaju Pinnick is in charge of one center, one venue at the World Cup. So there's a whole lot of Nigeria representation there. Having said that, this is what I saw I mean, Qatar had like 6 months of preparation. I don't know. So they now made Super Eagles look good against Portugal. They had 6 months to prepare. 6 months. How many days do you have in 6 months?
In 6 we have 180 days.
180 days plus to train your team to put your. Is that all you got? I mean, these guys look like a bunch of camera traders who don't even know where. I mean, they can't pass the ball. They can't position themselves to receive the ball. I guess maybe the World Cup, the occasion was too big because these guys, I saw them play at the Asian Cup. They were good. They were shooting accurately from outside of the 18-yard balls. They were passing. They were doing step-overs. And outside, the team that Xavi coached in Qatar, like 90% of the players are from that team. And all of a sudden, this is all they got. For me, I was disappointed. Ecuador, that looks like Democratic Republic of Congo, well, I mean, at some point too, they were really not playing well as well. The passes were not going well. You know, well, for a World Cup opener, let's say better to have the taste of bad wine at the beginning and then have the sweet one later. So sometimes you save the best for the last. So probably the real action is coming. There are 3 games today, and we're going to look at all those games. We already been given a snippet. Bukayo Saka is going to start ahead of Foden. Definitely it means that Raheem Sterling will start. It will be a front 3 of Raheem Sterling, Harry Kane, and Bukayo Saka most likely. We also hear that Harry Maguire is going to start. Harry Maguire, Juju, is strong. You know, Harry Maguire is going to start, and a few other players here and there. But that's not the only fixtures. There is Senegal playing against England, Iran, and Senegal playing against Netherlands. And why is Africa opening up with a tough challenge? Because if Senegal goes on to lose that game now, we're dealing with a situation whereby they need to. Oh, Johnny Gaffer, thank you very much. Now we're dealing with a situation whereby they need to win their remaining 2 games, which is not going to be easy. Who are the other 2 teams that are playing against in their group?
Senegal, Ecuador, and Qatar. They
play against Ecuador and Qatar. Now Ecuador could become a problem because Ecuador have won their game. I'm just playing this hypothetical situation now. They know that Ecuador knows that Netherlands might not be easy for us. So definitely we're going to go do all we got to draw against Senegal. If they draw against Senegal and then they go to the Netherlands and also try to get a draw, because I'm taking it for granted that Qatar will be the whipping boys. So it's going to be down to who scored the most goals against them eventually. So let's say they go play against Netherlands. No.
Senegal on the last day of this group.
Qatar play against Senegal
on the last day.
No. This is what I'm saying. Ecuador plays against. I've already played Qatar 1-2 goals to nothing, right?
Yes.
So they go to Senegal and they realize that Senegal is playing today. Let's say hypothetically Senegal loses to the Netherlands. Hypothetically, Senegal loses to the Netherlands depends on the number of goals. Okay, depends on what they score. They now know that we have to make sure we don't lose to Senegal, because if you don't lose to Senegal, your chances, that is Ecuador now, your chances are very bright. By the time Senegal goes to play against Qatar in the last game, it might just be a dead rubber game, because simultaneously they will also be playing against the Netherlands. And Netherlands would have played against Senegal, let's say beat Senegal, would have played against Qatar, scored truckload of goals against Qatar. They are now on top of the group. Ecuador is the second, and then Senegal, and then the Netherlands comes up with a team that is not like their reserve team in the last game.
Oh my God, that's going to be mean on the Senegal end, because they might just play their second squad like every team does on their 3rd game. Just realize that's going to be
so these things might just happen. Okay, it's crazy. Oh, Johnny Gaffer say, Edafi, don't be surprised if Super Eagles draw in a friendly against this Qatar. Will be the 5-0, I think. 5-0. I'm not happy with the Super Eagles right now, but this Qatar, they play this kind of ball that they play, will be the 5-0, I think. 5, minimum 5. Not that Ecuador was, I don't know where Ecuador was playing. Well, I can understand, because on that field, there's only one player that have been to the World Cup before, and that was Ena Valencia. And he did show why he was Ena Valencia. The other players, none of them have been to the World Cup before. So I can understand a little bit, but still, Qatar was insipid. They were just... See, I watch football with data, and it's pretty expensive, knowing fully well all the bills that I have to pay. And that's why if I watch European League, you will never see me watch Southampton versus Nottingham Forest, like spend 2 hours. What? No, I don't. It's not data they use. So I will always pick game. I watch Man City, I watch Arsenal, of course, my team. I watch Manchester United because I know I will need to come on air and analyze them. Nobody's going to ask me question about Nottingham Forest versus Southampton or Brighton. No, I know I can read up on those ones. So if I'm committing to watch 64 games in the World Cup and I'm going to watch them with my data, right now I'm asking myself, God, who's going to send me money to buy this data? Like I really need money now to buy data. My data is running out. With MTN also, trying to all of us that are using 4G, we're not looking like Flintstone. They want all of us to go out. Because the streaming we did, I learned a lesson from the streaming we did because we had to hire a 5G modem for that streaming. And I noticed how beautiful it was. The whole streaming, there was no break. Okay, we have our own technical issues with the audio sometimes in between. For those of you who didn't watch it, you could go watch it on our page. It's there. Just check on the live stream, and you will see the 2 games that were streamed. But it was something that we needed to test equipment. We needed to put stress test all these things. I know what the challenges are. So let me come to you, Benedict, before we even go deep diving into the World Cup, the 3 games that are going on today. How was the experience for you doing commentaries? I mean, I know you've done FMFC, but this is like on the professional side. This is your first time, right?
Yeah, it was my first time.
How was it for you?
Well, I have to say, I mean, like commentating on non-audience games, like that's what really brought me here in the first place. Then also, I remember a lot of advice. I had to take a lot of advice about how to relate the players to like European players, try to bring you some history facts. But in the end, I felt really good. Me and Sebastian had a little bit of allocation. It's in the lead role immediately when we started, but we later sorted that out, and that was sorted. Although the tempo at some areas were a bit lower than expected, like they say, but overall it was really good, and I'm sure it was really good for Man Sebastian. We had such a lovely time. I got to say big thanks to some of my friends who actually joined in. I really appreciate it because a lot of people don't fancy this thing. Are interested in music and a whole lot of other things, but I have to say, actually, I'm my cousin as well. Big shout out to them.
Is this something you would want to do for the rest of your life?
Of course.
All right. So we got a commentator in the house. Benedict really did, for me, really did well. We had some microphone challenges here and there, but I mean, the next time we will do, I'm in negotiation now with the TCC to see us also broadcast their matches. We will see how that goes and come up with something way better as we go. It's just that it's very expensive to deploy the team, to bring up a single game is 400K. Oh boy, my ear was breathing after the weekend. And now I understand what Jesus meant when he said virtue have left him. I just came home. I promised my children that I was going to take them to the movies this weekend. I couldn't. I was begging my daughter, I'm sorry, daddy spent money somewhere. That's an investment in my combat goods eventually, but please try to understand. And then she said, okay, since you're not taking us to the movies, let's do steak. I had to go buy, me and her, we drove out, I had to go and buy meat with this steak, Irish potato. She was the chef. She was the one, put this, put that. I was just the messenger. I was just the errand boy, just to please our young girl so that there's peace in the kingdom. And we eventually had peace in the kingdom. So let's come back to World Cup. We've seen the boring game. Today, the conversation now is about England are planning to come out wearing the One Love armband in support of the LGBTQ community. This World Cup has become more of politics, United Nations, World Health Organization, Child Labour, and the rest of them. And I like the comment of Infantino. There are some part of the comment that I don't like. All those, I feel Qatar, I feel, I think it's useless. But there is a part of his comment that I love where he talked about the major European companies that are working in Qatar that have never had a conversation around labor, the whole labor conversation. And then all of a sudden they want to use the World Cup as their own sounding board to make all their demands and the rest. And then he asked them, what about them? And then also puts a message to the EU, European nations, and said, for 3,000 years, you guys have been, talking and been doing this. It's time for you people to listen. You have no moral ground to talk to anybody, to give anybody lecture on what to do or what not to do. You guys are traded in slavery. You guys did all these things that you did. Well, I like that statement. It was bold. It was bold to make it. And I also calculated that, okay, he already knows he's going to run unopposed in the next FIFA election and the next FIFA Congress. And so probably there's nobody that is going to shit on him and say, okay, for this reason, you are voting at. So he's coming in unopposed. He's going to have another 4-year term. Himself, Amadou, and the rest of them, all of them will be on that, which is very, very good. And I saw Amadou and his wife were having fun at the World Cup, which is also very, very good. But let's talk football a little bit before we come into the England game, the US game, and then the Holland game. Let's talk a little bit about Qatar. Was there any bright light out of the game? I mean, the stadiums are nice. The opening ceremony is beautiful. Qatar is great. I mean, the world's most expensive World Cup ever, $225 billion. If you add some extra, you get up to $250 billion. What were the bright spot from that game yesterday, from you as a football analyst?
I find it hard to believe that Russia spent 18 billion.
Because they already have facilities.
Okay.
They already have facilities. They already have everything. Germany spent less.
The gap is a whole lot, regardless of facilities to some extent for me. That's a whole lot.
But that's explainable because they have to build from the scratch. They have to build from ground zero. It's different. It's like starting a business without anything at all on ground. You're going to spend more compared to somebody who inherited a whole lot and just little to do. Okay, so Russia, they have a league, they have a well-functional league, their teams play European competition, stadiums are there, just upgraded. Facilities are there, they already have hospitals, they already have hotels. Qatar is not a tourist destination, so they don't have all these people come to our country. That's why most of the accommodations are temporary accommodations, okay? So it's different, and some of the facilities are going to be removed after the World Cup, so it's kind of like really, really different. They are hosting building event centers and removing them after. It's expensive. I won't blame them for that.
Well, the bright side from that game didn't really come from Qatar. I have to say they had two strikers who were lethal pre the competition, but during the competition it just felt like blunt scissors and something like that. But the right side had to come from Colombia. Caicedo plays at Brighton. Ecuador rather, sorry. Caicedo plays at Brighton. I'm also the Ecuador right back.
Fantastic. And he got injured.
I just can't remember his name right now. That was one of the most the brightest lights to come. I thought after the break, Qatar gonna pose a fight because that guy could have scored a hat trick. Yes, they talk about Valencia, he could have scored a hat trick just because of some unfortunate. And if you look at the game, he entirely did not even play out of position, but the ball just found some way to get it, just like this Ronaldo best moment, those kind of things. The bright light didn't come from Qatar, not any single bit. I find out that the champions of the Asian Cup, and they also got past Chile. They also beat Chile about 6-1 coming to this World Cup. I really felt like, okay, they got the hosting right 12 years ago, but I think they just rigged their way. Like they bribed everybody in between. Like
they did not bribe anybody. I disagree with that.
I'm just thinking.
But I disagree with that bribing thing. That's not bribing. But they did what was necessary. I just think that they focus so much on building facilities, hosting the world, defending themselves against needless blackmail, because it's not even controversy. Needless blackmail that they forgot to build a team. I just think that they didn't build a team the way a team should have been built. But hey, what do I know?
And also the first time you didn't also mention the first time a host actually losing their opening game.
Yeah, I said so.
Okay,
yeah.
You said so. Okay.
Yeah.
So it was pretty bad, but I have to say overall, Ecuador did deserve their way. There was nothing that could take them away. I'm also their defender Estupiñán. What can I pronounce his name?
Estupiñán.
He plays at Brighton as well.
Yeah, he's a Brighton player.
Like Grandpa, I don't know why, but those guys are underdog coming up, being good in their own respectful ways, and they just definitely deserve that one. The major thing is qualifying from their group right now, because we can't start right for Senegal, although I've written them off quite some time ago right now. But we got to say the bright light was from Ecuador.
All right, I love what the right fullback did all through before it was. I think it was Iberra that was yanked off, that had that went up and then he landed badly. The right fullback played all 90 minutes. Presido, what his name is, and for me, I was expecting a lot from Alomoy Ali for Qatar. He had a chance to put the ball in the net with his head before the very end of the first half. He didn't do it. It was yanked off in the second half. And I also have fifths. What his name is? The Jason, my 11th player for them.
Yeah.
Coming into this tournament, it was one player that was really busting, good play, good shot, and he didn't deliver. But they have also in midfield was one of the key player in the Asian Cup, just as well as Hatem. But unfortunately, maybe the event overall them, watching the opening ceremony, staying inside and not being part of the event, and then they got overruled. I don't know. I could excuse them. Hey, we saw Spain lose their opening game in the 2010 World Cup and still go on to win it. Maybe Qatar will still go on to win it.
I said it that last time now, like Qatar won the World Cup, and you started laughing.
Even right now, I'm laughing at myself. They could go on to go and win it like Spain and do what Spain did. But hey, that's a long shot out of it. Now let's focus on today's game. What are your expectations for today's game? Let's start with the England game, and then we hobble our way from that game to the other games that are going to go down. What are your expectations?
Can I just say my preferable lineup?
Okay, yeah.
So in goal, I'm definitely gonna go with the Pope, like ahead of Gerrard Pickford and Aaron Ramsdale. I have to say Pickford is actually the last in the bunch for me. Although he's been the able man, independent one for England for God knows how long right now. I'm going to go. Usually, Gareth Southgate most likely has to go with back three of late, but I'm sure the fans will expecting the back four. So they're going to go with back four. Kieran Trippier, John Stones, Ben White, and
I think they're going with the back four.
If they're going to the back four, but if they're going to go with the back three, Harry Maguire is going to definitely start as the.
Either way, Harry Maguire is starting.
Oh, this is so ridiculous. Well, but if they're going with that back four, Trippier, what's his name now, John Stones, and Ben White on left back with Shaw, which is the only left back they brought. Really surprising though. In midfield, I've said they go with the 4-2-3-1 because that will really help them in the Euros, despite all the outside rigging and some things that happen else off the pitch. They can rise, and Calvin Phillips is not really there, so Jude Bellingham obviously gets the.
But Calvin Phillips is fit.
It's fit, but
yeah, it's available for selection.
Yes, but and I know Southgate, since he's very very loyal, so he's my most likely start ahead of Jude Bellingham. But for me, I say Bellingham gets the nod above Calvin Phillips in this game against Iran personally. While Bukayo Saka, I have to say Pickford is going to have to like play more like a makeshift into that number 10 position and that 10-8 position with Bukayo Saka on the left, Foden in the middle, and Jack Grealish on the right, because obviously the fans want to see Jack Grealish. I have to say Mason Mount is not the best creative midfielder he could get, and Gareth Southgate hasn't found a way to get with Foden because Foden can play anywhere. You can ask Guardiola that. Yeah. Guardiola has even said he's going to play left back anything.
But that's because of the quality you have in Man City. Let's not forget, does England have that quality? Okay, so looking at this game, for instance, James Maddison is not going to play. Kyle Walker is not going to play. Both of them are out injured in this game. Iran have only one player injured. That's Azmoun. Azmoun is not going to be available. So for them, they have the rest of the team. Are they going to be able to? Would Iran shock England in this game?
I don't think so. I think England are going to win. So they're going to cruise past Iran. Very, very surprisingly, they're going to cruise past Iran.
So there is no head-to-head between these two teams. There's no, they've never played against each other, nothing. But then look at England carefully coming into this World Cup. Let's not be in a hurry. England did not win a single game out of their last 5. They drew 3, lost 2. Okay, they drew 3-3 with Germany. Lost to Italy 1-0, lost 4-0 to Hungary, and then they drew 0-0 with with Italy, and then that 1-1 draw with Germany. And if you push it further again, they lost 1-0 against Hungary. But then look at Iran, look at the teams that they played against. They lost 2-0 to Tunisia, but then they beat Nicaragua 1-0. But hey, who is Nicaragua? They're not on the map. They're as bad as Qatar as well. And then they also drew 1-1 with Senegal. I'm going somewhere with this. Senegal is not an easy side. They were able to get a 1-1 draw against Senegal. And guess what? Iran beat Uruguay 1-0. So, in that friendly. And then again, they lost 2-1 to Algeria. If you look carefully, this Iranian side does not come across as a team that will fall down and die. But hey, that's how Qatar was beating everybody before their game. If you go back to Qatar coming into this tournament with all the whole talk about they had 6 months to prepare, they have this one, they have that one, and all of a sudden they went into that game. What happened? Remember that prior to this game, Iran was winning every game. Iran beat Guatemala 2-0. Qatar, beat Guatemala 2-0. They beat Honduras 1-0. That was them preparing for Ecuador, because to them, Honduras was the closest thing to them. And then they also beat Panama 2-1. They beat Albania 1-0. They were just winning and winning and winning. And everybody said, oh, they are doing well. Especially with Ecuador winning only 2 out of their last 5, drawing the other 3. And remember, when Ecuador played against Iraq, which is supposed to be a semblance of what Qatar will be, it was a goalless draw. And then prior to that, they played against Japan, was a goalless draw. They played against Saudi Arabia, it was a goalless draw. And then they managed to beat Cape Verde 1-0. I was Qatar would show the pepper. That game was a stroll in the park. So looking at this game now, would England win this one with ease, or it's going to be a big upset? Pack of the pack. I mean, there was a World Cup. It's in 1974, if I'm not mistaken. Now, is it 1974 or 1954? Okay, one of those World Cup where USA was just a shitty team, and everybody said they can't do anything. They went to the World Cup. They met the English national team, and everybody was counting on England to take them out, beat them. It ended 1-0. England was beaten by the United States of America. At the time, they didn't have a football league. They don't even know what football is. They still don't know what football really is.
Oh my God.
Have you seen this Latin movie?
Oh, you watched it? Oh my God, I just watched that on Saturday. My brother was like, that's what
Football Soccer World. Yeah, I have.
I said, I saw an American is like,
these things don't pass my nose. They
wow,
don't.
like, I'm so surprised right now. Like, I feel like, I don't know, I feel like
I enjoyed it. Okay, so would we say surprise today?
Well, I can say, all of a sudden, a lot of people wouldn't count England as favorite because most people said,
are they favorites?
England, like I was saying, England go into every competition as favorite. That's how press and human beings have
they have the media, I agree, but you can't call England favorite going into any tournament. When was the last time they won anything?
Very long time ago. 66.
So 66. So you can't call a team like that favorite. Nigeria that won Nations Cup in 2013, they don't go into tournament anymore as favorite. England cannot be seen as favorite. I don't see them as favorite anyway.
Well, I can't remember who said it. I said out of the favorites, England have the lowest chance of winning. I have to say that. But all of a sudden, this one, I started saying, guys, sorry, you can take them all the way. I felt that was pretty ridiculous. But I think this Iran team is just going to be like a walkover because, you can say, their qualifications and the game against Hungary, I'm not telling someone to bet that England will score over 4.5 and they lost that game 1-0. That was ridiculous on my end. But I have to say,
it's not your fault.
I have to say that I feel
they had the players and you banked on them wrongly.
I have to say, I feel Iran are not going to pose a large threat to this English national team because Gareth Southgate knows that this is going to most likely be the end, and a lot of factors are going to concern. Are going to push him for England to just go all the way. Iran not posing any surprise for me.
All right, so let's go out to those guys out there. What do you think about this game, England versus Iran? Are we going to see an upset in this game, or it's going to be usual traffic? 07025000069 is the number to call. If you're on Instagram, you can drop in your comment now. On YouTube, there are a lot of people also commenting. So continue to remember, say good morning, boss, good morning to you. And I want to say this World Cup's opening match, Nobiamo, the opening ceremony, sweet past the game self. Well, opening ceremony is supposed to be way more memorable than the game, actually. The Larry Waju said Qatar is here, and some people are already having Qatar. Boring opener, great opening ceremony. I see what you did there. Okay, Johnny Gaffer, thank you very much for giving us £449. Okay, don't be surprised if Super Eagles draw in a friendly against this Qatar. We'll bet on the Super Eagles on that one, shot. The Olari just say Qatar were just playing scattered, and then even Ecuador they do kata too. The Olari want to say Qatar win. Though, okay, how did even become Asian champions? Wondering. I don't know, because if I look at the game that they played yesterday, maybe they were overwhelmed by the World Cup. The whole activities of the World Cup coming together could overwhelm anybody. Okay, having that shorty moment, not believing that. I mean, you're hosting. I remember when I went to Brazil in 2014. Let me be very honest. The first game that they asked me to do commentary on, I didn't do well because I was overwhelmed. I was just doing commentaries and tears was rolling up my eyes. Like I was remembering a lot of things. My mom, especially, like she wasn't alive to hear her son at the World Cup, because growing up, one of the biggest dreams that I had at the time was to play at the World Cup. Like I used to tell people around, like, I could play for World Cup and I sit down for television and watch me. But that didn't happen. So going to the World Cup, running commentaries, my first game was not really there. But then thereafter, I realized that, come on, guys, knock it off. I think in the second half, nothing else. Do what you know how to do. Come on, this is you now. It's no longer about playing. This is you now. Do it the same way you would do if you were playing. And I got in the groove, and I remember Emeka said, "What happened? First half, you were just normal, and then in the second half, a beast came out. What happened?" I was like, that second half guy, that's who I am. That first half guy was a guy that was overwhelmed. So probably Qatar was overwhelmed, especially in the first half. And I will give them the benefit of that and try to see them in the second game. Akbas Baba, he said England will walk over Iran, not be bombed. This is not fair. He said not be bomb matter be this. Big brother. Jesus, I mean, sharp. Danny Bayano JP say nice match. I don't know which match was calling nice match now. Whether it's the one that we did at the Jagaban Cup finals or it's the World Cup, because if it's the World Cup, I don't know what is nice. Maybe you're playing Kongwaso by nice in your house or your car, wherever you are watching us from, and you just decide to use nice as the preface for the world match. I don't know, but hey, that Qatar game not be nice match. Let's be honest. So we'll be watching football since MPFM matches are way better than that game that we saw. But hey, it's one of those things. Beauty is in the eye of the beholder, but then some beholder eye if they blind. But whatever you call it, if you say it's a nice match, then it's a nice match. Let's move to the next game of the day. First game starts by 2. Man, those people they go walk. That the feeling of being. This is where I enjoy being a CEO. The feeling of being a CEO and the audacity for me to say I'm not going to this World Cup, especially when I have an all-expense paid trip. It's still my wife is still looking at me like I don't decrease, but I have a production. I have a production this week, and I have to really, be professional about it. Senegal, Netherlands. These two teams. This is not one is the African champion. One is the reimagined force of European football. All of a sudden, Netherlands didn't lose a game qualifying for this World Cup, if I'm not mistaken.
Even got past Belgium twice.
Good. So, looking at this team, this is not one of those teams you just say, Senegal will run them over. Okay, Senegal in their last 5 games have won 2, lost 2, drawn 1. Okay, the Netherlands have drawn 1, won 4. They are scoring goals. They are winning. They have a new team, but they have what's it called now? The mayor of coaches and the master of youth players, young players. I'm talking about Louis van Gaal as their coach. What do you expect in that game? I mean, this is where Africa opens the door and say we're starting. And you want to have an African team start properly. Unfortunately, I cannot put my smart money on Senegal to win this one. If they win, it's going to be a shocker for me. I'm not putting my money on Senegal. First, historically, apart from 2002, Senegal did not start tournament very well. They start slowly and then grow into it, apart from 2002. So unless they're going to come into this one and start pretty well and shocks the Netherlands also are looking like the emerging force of Europe, like what Spain was in 2010. And I know that Netherlands also feel like they were robbed in 2010 and they didn't win it. But either way, whatever way you want to look at it, let's look at this game carefully. It's Senegal. Let's not forget that these two teams have never met at any level. So is Senegal in prime position to say, oh, we can beat this thing? And Senegal didn't play any friendly going into this tournament with opposition that resembles the Netherlands. So they played against Iran in a friendly international and drew 1-1. They played against Bolivia, South American team, and they won that game 2 goals to nothing. They played against Guinea and drew 1-1. That's the African Cup of Nations qualifier. They also played against Guinea again, over 2 legs, and they won that 1 goal to nothing. I remember the game against Liberia, where they lost to Liberia 2 goals to 1. Other than that, they've not played any European team in a friendly that gives them an idea of, okay, this is the Netherlands. For instance, Netherlands, you could go play Belgium, you could go play Serbia, you could go play Croatia. Those are teams that are very good ball jugglers, just like the Netherlands as well. But hey, what are you expecting in this game? This is Africa opening the door. I think that game is going to happen by 4, so 5. Okay, so the first game is 2 p.m. and then the second game is 5, and then the third game, USA versus Wales,
8.
Is 8, and we'll come to that. But Senegal, Netherlands.
First of all, I'm regretting, like you said, those people that are able to walk by 2 p.m. I'm also now some radio stations are going to have to interrupt their regular shows. Now I'm regretting paying for Netflix. I just pay for Showmax, so they don't give you the same thing. Senegal, Netherlands.
The problem with Showmax is the freeze too much.
Oh, it freezes.
I mean, it's okay, but it freezes too much. They need to upgrade. They need to find a way to upgrade their technology and make it easy. The transition should be easy to.
Okay. Well, Senegal and Netherlands, like you said, there was nothing close to the Senegal Netherlands game. Last time Senegal even played a European and a non-African team apart from the Bolivia you just mentioned. It was Colombia. Then they played against Japan. Those games they lost one and they drew one, so they've not really played against European teams. And like you said, apart from the 2002 World Cup, which they eventually won their first game against France and eventually went all the way in an African sense until they lost to Turkey.
Yeah.
Until they lost to Turkey all the way. But this Netherlands team, like Vahan said, is also a big fan of Mane, who's unfortunately going to miss this one. I really feel like they're going to be goals for sure.
Yeah.
Senegal are gonna pose up a fight regardless of their captain. Talk about Sadio Mane again. But Netherlands are gonna just quite kind of get the edge. They have squad there, they have better players. No one's gonna take that away from that. Then Senegal, I'm not saying they have the best players, but they have a better squad right now than Senegal. And most likely
Netherlands, you mean?
Netherlands have a better manager than Senegal. And I have to say, these Africans, everyone's carrying their local coaches right now. I hope it's eventually going to pay off and eventually going to see something, because if you look at it, no one has won the World Cup with a foreign manager. So I hope at least.
Does that say Africa is going to win the World Cup this time?
It says that one team is going to, like, I'm still marking on Tunisia either way.
So do what?
To qualify from the group. They might not go past the round of 16.
No problem.
To qualify from the group. But Netherlands, Senegal, I'm going to say, like, Netherlands are going to win, but Senegal, it's going to be an interesting game, other than the one we saw yesterday. It's going to be an interesting game. They're going to be goals, maybe they're the same 2 or maybe 3. I'm not going to say which way is going to go, but Netherlands are going to get the edge over Senegal come 90 minutes plus.
All right, somebody, Uruboisi Peter, he said level of playing of football seems to have dropped, to have quite dropped. If that match was anything to go by, Jesus, spending no kill us here. Greetings, boss. Greetings to you, Dr. Cruz. Iran will surprise England. Okay, you sure about that? Well, let's hope they do. According to Cruz, they say Iran will surprise England. On the Instagram side, Starboy _ LYG says, he says England will win 1-0. England will struggle. Okay, I'm enjoying the prediction, because it's not looking like, oh, it's going to be an easy ride for England. But now let's bring it to the African team. Your opinions, your comments are needed on this one. Senegal, you saw Senegal play at the African Cup of Nations. They started pretty slowly, and then they went on all the way to the one on penalties against Egypt, the same Egypt that we subdued in our first game in the group game. But hey, Tunisia knocked us out, and that was all she wrote.
Well, let's be true to ourselves. Was Senegal really good? Because most of the time, the best teams don't win the World Cup. The AFCON, were they really good? I'm not going to say they won 3-1 in their semi-final and quarterfinals. I don't remember the same 3-1 in both games, though. But were they really good?
They won it. If they won it, then they're good.
Okay.
They won it over 24 teams. If they won it, then they're good.
Okay.
I'm not going to shit on them and say, oh, they're not good and all of that. No. It's going to be hard for me to say that, because it would be me going out of what I normally say. Like, if a team wins a game, you first of all have to give them credit. They didn't just pass one team. They passed about 6 or 7 teams, and then they got on to win the Nations Cup. They played 3 games in the group stage. Weren't that fantastic in the group stage? But eventually, they did all that was necessarily needed to get past the group stage. And then from there on, they ended up winning. Nigeria in 2013 were horrible in the group stage. 15 minutes away from being knocked out from the group stage. But we went on to win it. And we all said that Steven Gerrard, so we also have to give them the credit. Cisse and the rest of the people that made it happen, we have to give them credit. I'm not going to shit on them and say they're not good enough, they don't deserve to be there. That's not one of the things that I like to do. I like to give people credit, give them the flowers when they are good, because when they don't do well, when I come out with my sledgehammer and with my guns, all guns blazing to criticize them, nobody's going to say, oh, you're always seeing fault in this team. When they do well, when they win, especially winning the AFCON is not an easy thing. Playing the African continent is not an easy thing. I was in Cameroon up until the round of 16. Then we left. I remember I spent 15 days in Cameroon. and very, very eventful one. I don't think I can go with you on this one and say, oh, they were not good enough. No, I don't think I want to agree with you on that one, because they also played against some of the best teams in the tournament. They managed to skate past them and then get what they do. Shawboy Aguaje say Netherlands will beat Senegal 3-0. Jesus Christ. Senegal. I have a Senegal friend. When I worked with Al Jazeera, there was a guy, my cameraman, one of them was a Senegalese. Oh, Francois, they say they will beat you people 3-0. Oh, I'm sorry. Johnny Gaffar say, England are professionals. They will deal with Iran easy. Okay. That's what Johnny Gaffar thinks. Uche James, he said England cannot go far in this World Cup. Trust me. Okay, what are the things that you've done before, that you said before that happened, that would necessitate me trusting you? Because you have to give me some evidence to trust you. Having said that, while you can still popping up with your conversation around England, Iran, Senegal, Netherlands, let's not leave the Americans out of this. This is the World Cup that, when America qualified for the Russia World Cup, they said it was a deliberate thing, because Americans don't want to go to Russia and be ordered around by Russians, or possibly get poisoned by Russians in their hotels. So they deliberately refused to go. But then this is the World Cup that America were not even supposed to attend. The reason being that this is a small country that defeated them in the bid for the World Cup. This is the country that made America put FBI. UK Americans became the police that police the world. They went out of their way to go and arrest people in Switzerland out of their jurisdiction. But hey, that's what America are good at doing anyway. They have qualified for the Qatar World Cup. They will be shown some very beautiful stadium. I know America also have some of the best facilities in the world. The Mercedes-Benz Stadium, or the Mercedes-Benz Arena in Atlanta, Sophie Stadium, owned by the Arsenal owner, Stan Kroenke. What is the world's most expensive stadium? $5.5 billion was what it cost to put that stadium up there. It's also one of the stadiums that will host the next World Cup, hopefully. They are saying that they put the finals there, and a whole lot.
The LA Galaxy Stadium too.
Yeah, the LA Galaxy Stadium is also a good one, and a whole lot of other stadiums that you have in the US. Now, if you follow the World Cup in '94, you will notice that all the World Cup stadium in '94, and then the stadiums that they also used in Atlanta in '96, just like Brazil hosted the World Cup in 2014 and hosted the Olympic in 2016, Brazil did it first. I mean, the USA did it first back then. You notice that all the stadiums were open, from the First Bowl to the Cotton Bowl to the Dallas State. All of them were open. Today, America has advanced. They built almost every stadium in America is now indoor stadium. We're still where we used to be. We still have the dilapidating National Stadium Surulere. We still have the Teslim Balogun Stadium that is just name and nothing, and then all the other ones. They've not gone from open facing up stadium, because I went back and I watched the 1993 Super Bowl final with Michael Jackson performing, and I compared that performance to Snoop Dogg, Dr. Dre, Eminem, and Mary J. Blige performing recently at the Super Bowl. I saw the remarkable difference. Wow.
With 50 Cent was that?
Yeah, 50 Cent too. And I was like, wow, look at how these people have advanced, have transitioned from here to here, but we're still caught in where we used to be, in the 60s and 70s, which is very, very funny. There's no consistency with our development. There's no development at all. Not talking about consistency with it. But hey, we hope that one day we'll be there. Now, Americans coming to this one, they are going to play Wales. These people are cousins. England, Wales, Scotland, all these guys, Ireland, they are cousins with the Americans, right? How do you see this game? What's going to happen in this game?
I have to say, first of all, USA, this is going to be one of their third golden generation after the Tim Howard generation, and the next one, the 2006 World Cup. What I can't recall right now. They have quality players. Talking about Christian Pulisic, although he just benching himself at Chelsea. I saw one video of Raheem Sterling in an animation form saying, "Your captain doesn't starting in his squad side."
Yeah.
But they have Brendan Harris who plays at Leeds on JC Marsh, and also Weston McKennie who plays at Juventus there. So that's three very crucial players who play in big leagues in Europe.
Bayern Munich, okay, but Davis is Canada.
Alfonso Davies is Canadian, yes. But Canada also a team to watch out to. But this USA team, I feel like they're going to pose a lot of things. Most of Wales have a lot of momentum since the 1956 World Cup. That was the last time they were there. So the fans are behind them. They know what's going to be at stake. Everything is like on the line because the moment you lose your first game in the World Cup group stage, the chance of you qualifying are really slim. One of the few teams that started really slow that won the World Cup eventually was Italy. When they drew 3 games, they didn't even lose. They had to draw 3 games with Dinosaur as their captain. So losing a game would be very, very bad to either of these teams. But I'm gonna say USA are nobody's gonna win this game for me. It's gonna
draw.
It's gonna end like a 1 or 2-2 draw.
That's Gareth Bale.
That's not Daniel James and the likes of the Welsh players. Come
on.
This game's gonna be
Americans, they can run from now till forever.
They can. But I think this game is gonna be a draw. No one's gonna want
the game you saw yesterday. I mean, we saw a game that was played around past 5. Now there's gonna be a 2:00 game. The weather. How much impact will the weather play in the game today? Because everybody's saying that England will beat Iran. And I'm saying Iran is next door neighbor to Qatar. This is their own weather. The English are coming in. I saw the England team training and they have these cool air blowing big fans that they use that blows cool air for them. And after every run, tactical run, they come there, take water. Would the weather not play a part in making England suffer in the second half of the game?
Well, that's a very good factor. Because me and my brother were just talking about this thing. And we talk about it, this England player where they just yellow, small son will beat them, they will turn to our. We're just talking about that because these players are not. I know in Europe they play winter, summer. Summer is not even as half as the desert sun on a normal November, December, because this is their cold season right now.
Yeah.
So then this is the cold season. That's why it wasn't in June, July. That's going to be a big factor because Iran and the whole Middle Eastern countries are quite used to that temperature. They're quite, but England are still going to get the best of it, regardless, because they have better players. They might not have been in good shape following the games they just played coming into this World Cup, but I think they're going to be better. The weather is going to be a big factor, no doubt about that. It's going to be a big factor to any game played by 2:00. Any game played during noon period from around 2 to 4 p.m. is going to be a big one. But England, for this game particularly, they're going to get the better.
All right, let me see what you guys have got to say on YouTube and Instagram. Oduni Remileko say it be like say Harry Maguire they do one side hustle outside football for Southgate.
Maybe.
God, people get mad. Johnny Gava, my friend, and one of the most consistent backer and supporter. Johnny Gava give me this vibe of, okay, so I have a mentor, Alibaba. I have this thing about me going to him because every time I go to him, even if I just go for a visit, Alibaba will sit me down and he could spend 45 minutes or 1 hour teaching me something in my business. I think you should do this. I think you should do this one. I think, okay, now I know you don't have money, but put it in your mind, write it down in your plan. So to me, I now struggle. I can't go to Alibaba, I must buy wine. And not his level, let's be very fair, not on his level. But I just feel like going there, that's my gate fee. Johnny Gaffer does that, give me that kind of vibe. He doesn't feel like, oh, you should just join the show and just be part of the show. He must okay, take this off for a cup of coffee, for whatever it is you're doing. Thank you very much for always doing that. Thank you very, very much. I hope that one time when I'll come over to England again, we'll be able to sit down and have eat burger together or sit down over African dish and just laugh and joke and catch up with what's been going on with the business behind the scene and everything that we've been doing and then the plans going forward and all that. But thank you so much. And I wish I could really have a WhatsApp number where I could have a conversation with you behind the scene and all that, because sometimes it's very, very nice. It's very, very difficult to have people like you and the rest of the team that joins us every time. Thank you very much, Johnny Gaffa, for what you do. Atekbola Oluwaseun for me says, good morning, bro. I think Senegal will pick up a draw today and USA will win today. Okay, that's a different angle to it. But I'm going to give you guys what I think about all these ones. Okay. Akwazoba say America can never do well. That's where in the best of the. This is not basketball World Cup. Okay. Let's put our hands across. Prince Precious MNK001 talking about Precious. Today is Precious Amori's birthday. November 21st, baby. Today is her birthday. And massive shout out to Precious Amori. Plenty of love. In case those of you don't know, Precious Amori is the person who started this business with me. He's a co-founder.
I think today is Davido's birthday as well.
Okay, I don't know about that one. He said, bros, give us your take on today's game. What are we doing? How do we talk since now? Wait a minute. Akpazova say Wales will give USA a run for their money. They are not a football nation. I can never place my bet in favor of the USA. No way. Well, let me say this, okay? You guys are disrespecting the US of A. Okay, in case you've forgotten, I'm an American citizen, and you guys are disrespecting us, and it's not good. So US Wales, I'm gonna go with US to win. Yeah, I know, but I'm gonna go with US to win. England, Iran. England still have enough quality. I mean, England have the cheapest group in this tournament, so I think I'll go with England to win, but that win is standing on the fence. It's standing on its own. It could just turn on its head. I think that the weather might work in favor of Iran, and Iran might pull the shocker. That might just be the first shocker of the World Cup. But on the strength of the squad, that's why I'm picking England to win and win well convincingly. But if they don't, if the game first half ends 0-0, Iran will beat them. The first half of this game ends 0-0. Say England have not scored in the first 45 minutes, Iran will beat them. Netherlands, Senegal. Man, that's a game between a technically and tactically gifted side versus a team that is all power, all bronze, and probably no brains. It's gonna be very, very difficult because the Netherlands team are also a very young team. But I want to. As much as I wish that Senegal should win this game, on the African representation, I want to believe that this is the game that will produce a lot of goals. So Netherlands will win this one. Netherlands to win. USA to win. England to win or draw. Let me just put it that way. But on Instagram, Precious MNK say, I just joined. The show starts by 9. Okay? If you're not joining by 9 and you miss all the conversation, you're not going to force us to go back again and start. It's not possible. That's not how it works, okay? Kaz_347, he said, I think England, Holland, and USA will go away with a win today. All right, I'm on the same place with you on this one as well. But it's just an England game that have a little bit of a shadow of doubt on it. Like there is, this thing you look at yourself to yourself, if England, which England will show up? If England comes up with their A game, they might do something different. But if they don't, Iran is not supposed to be a threat to them. But then Iran are not a new team to the World Cup. So this is not Qatar, who are playing in their first ever World Cup, who are overawed, even though they got an easy opposition in Ecuador that they could have gotten a draw or probably get something. And Ecuador also starting this. Ecuador, the youngest team to come out of South America. This is the only South American team that brought an entire squad that have only one World Cup, only one player World Cup experience. But that said, you could look at them and you say to yourself, hey, Qatar being the host and having a long time to train together, stay together, should have gotten a result. They didn't get that result. For England and Iran, the Iranians are a different bunch. The Iranians are like the Americans. They are the worry boys of the Middle East. Like, we die here. I know that bomb is different from football. But they have this we die here mentality, never say die attitude. England's top class professionals. They should be professional about it. But then if weather sits in and stop them, it's not as if they had a very long time to acclimatize. The weather sits in and stop them from scoring in the first half. I think Iran will grow stronger and become a problem for them. So I think at this point, I'm going to sit where I am and look at them and say to myself, I do not think that what's it called? it's going to be an easy ride for England. But there's also the possibility that they just might run over every Iranian player and get the very best out of their players. But then when you have a team that is starting with Harry Maguire, I think maybe the coach is looking at it like, okay, Iran is the weakest team in this group. Let's play those players that ordinarily would not play when it comes to the big games. But then again, that could also be a problem for them because when you start them and then they kind of like do well, you start wondering, okay, what do we do next? You know, there is also that part of the conversation. What do we do next? Is this really going to work or not? So, because when you start with Harry Maguire, and then let's say they win Iran, and you not go forward and you're not thinking Harry Maguire is going to stop real world-class players when the time comes, and Harry Maguire scored like 3 home goals in 90 minutes, then you would understand the kind of mistake you made because Harry Maguire has not had a good season. And you know, when you go to the World Cup and you start your first press conference after you make your squad selection was that Tommy Abraham did not get selected because his run of form came in late, and you are picking Harry Maguire, you're picking Luke Shaw, you're picking Kevin Phillips in this squad. There are some people who are sitting and saying, I made this team lose, let them lose, so that we'll ask him question, what was the basis? And now you're going to start some of those players who were actually not starters in their club. I don't know what's going to happen, but let's just keep our fingers crossed. Ushe James says Senegal is going to play draw today. Oluwaseun say good morning, bro. I think Senegal will pick up a draw today, and USA will win today as well. Johnny Gafasi, an expert I follow in American football, says this is one of their most exciting teams in years. I agree with that expert because if you look at the player, so America, the thing about America coming to the World Cup is America mentally, an average American sports person mentally is the most prepared. So that, you know, that mentality of Americans always believing that they are second to none, right? They are always number one, just like Germans in Europe. They're always number one. They're always the best. It kind of like rub off on them. And then going into tournament, USA 94 is a good example. They were the hosts, and they gave a good account of themselves. Tony Moella, Kobe Jones, and all those guys that played, Eric Ronaldo, and all those guys that played. I know some of these names that I'm mentioning now, they are very, very alien to a lot of the people that are viewing. But it is that kind of thing that you look at. In 2010, when you saw them in the World Cup with the players that they had, it was a different generation, but it was London Donovan and the rest of them. It was the same thing. Aldridge, Howard, Donovan, you know, they also came in with that never say die attitude. Okay, so every time you see America in a tournament, one time that they really didn't impress was in 2014. Other than that, every time America come into a tournament, they are fighting to the death. They are like Australia, they are like Switzerland. These are teams that they come to a tournament and you can't write them off. So I'm not going to sit here and write America off and say, oh, they're not good enough. I'm not saying that Wales doesn't have quality. They have quality players that play across Europe, everywhere. Gareth Bale, you can't have Gareth Bale in your team and write them off because Gareth Bale can score goals from corner kick. He can score from a free kick. He can make a solo run. And lately he's been, been very, very happy. Just won the cup, the MLS Cup with Chiellini on the side. So I'm looking at that team and I'm saying to myself, hey, this is a very good team too, and they qualify for the World Cup ahead of some very tough opposition. But then America is not, the US team is not a team to write off. I'm not going to sit where I am and write them off. I think that the US will win that game, not because Wales is a weak team, but just because of the never say die attitude of the American team. And, Tosi Adebambo say, I wish Senegal good luck today and hope they represent African continent well. Well, let's hope and see. Carson has got 347. Who do you think will take the world by surprise in this year World Cup, just like the way Senegal did in 2002? That's hard. I'm looking at Denmark. I'm looking at the Netherlands. I'm looking at a lot of people talk about Senegal, but I'm not. Okay, so Cameroon also have, they have all the incentive to make it happen. This is the first time Cameroon is going into a tournament and there is no financial problem. Let me read this for you. Qatar World Cup, Indomitable Lions staff and players to cash huge bonuses. Okay, the coach Rigobert Song will receive 120 million francs CFAs While the boys will get 60 million francs, half of what the coach gets each as participating fee for the World Cup. As we speak, each player has had their account credited for the call-up, while other heavy bonuses are on their way. More than 1.5 billion francs or CFAs have been allocated for bonuses alone, and that amount might significantly increase after we win the World Cup. That's what Samuel Eto'o have to say. I know they're not going to win the World Cup. Let's not be joking and be fooling ourselves here. They're not going to win the World Cup.
Well, there's a 44 million prize tag on whoever wins the World
Shut
Cup.
up.
So who knows? Well, I have to say that
Shut up.
the timing, the England-Iran game is 2 o'clock here, but it's going to be 4 o'clock.
Over there, yeah, that's 2 hours ahead of us.
Yeah, so it might be, I don't know if it might be a bit cooler by 4 o'clock.
No.
Still the same stuff.
Yeah, it's the same stuff. Like the same. Yeah, but this is a cool time. Thank God they're not playing it in the June period, okay? But it's not gonna be that cool. That's why I said first half, because it was when we now get to 5 o'clock that it will not calm down, simmer down a bit. So if you don't get your first half win and you get burned out in the first half, Iran, they are used to it. This is their weather. It doesn't matter what time you play. They just might run you out, okay? Akwas Baba say, I wish Ghana can do us proud like the last time. No, it's still hot by 4 p.m. I know. The place is still very hot. So it's not going to be a cool evening for them. And I my friend in England say, but we play 12 o'clock noon game in England. You guys in England, you don't get weather. I just bad weather now and I get bad weather, rain and all that now and I get. If you talk of sun, I went to Dubai. The Dubai side is normal weather. I don't know who sent me a proco. I said I want to go lick ice cream for space station. I went to Kofakan. Oh, Kofakan. We got there by 5. My skin, I couldn't even stand on the sun. I couldn't stand it. That's how burning it is. So, and then the air is heavier, right? So it's gonna be difficult for the English team if they can't score in the first half, and then get towards if they concede goals in the first half, say 1-2 goals in the first half. England, I don't lose the opening game. We're not getting to anybody will talk. And I'm sure FIFA will not want England to lose that early. This is the reason. Because anything that makes England lose that early and go out of this tournament, England will use the might of their press to discredit this World Cup and say all sorts of things that they want to say. Again, FIFA would also not want America to go out of this tournament early. That's another part that a lot of people are not looking into. So I'm going to say this: England to win or draw, Netherlands to win, and the USA to win. This is where we draw the curtain on the show. We're 2 minutes past the hour mark already. Benedict, any last word for the people that are going to see the World Cup today? Give me your own prediction. The 3 games for today.
Scoreline or general?
General prediction. I don't like scoreline.
All right. England are going to get ahead. I'm going to get the good against Iran. Senegal are going to lose like some 2-goal margin. But they're going to score, most likely. USA was going to end in a draw.
All right. That's what the young experts have said. I don't know what you guys think. But one thing I'm sure is yesterday I didn't bother to tweet because there was really nothing to tweet. I know that my Twitter page will be burning for the matches today. So if you care to be on the chat, let's be there. Let's bank, let's do all the bands on Twitter and see how it goes. Once again, my name is Edafi Matthews. You love to come in the Lagos on Sports. It's been wonderful being on the Sports Buffet with this young man, Benedict Eki, who is growing in leaps and in bounds every day, and I hope he continues to grow. And I do hope that the next World Cup, both of us will be in the US, Mexico, and Canada, giving you updates from that place. But until then, let's have some fun while we're here in Nigeria. Do have yourself a wonderful day and a good start to the week. May your hustle pay, and may your money not go for medical bills and prison bills and negative payment. May your money goes into investment and proper things that will make you have joy. May your blood pressure not rise unnecessarily. May it also not drop lower than normal unnecessarily. Have a wonderful day. I think it's the same from Benedict, from the both of us. We say hasta la vista. Bye-bye. You're welcome.